You're listening to Video Villa Podcast, episode 23, Cujo, written by Dan Dunaway and Barbara Turner, directed by Lewis Teague. So for the finale of our Halloween marathon, we figured we'd bring you a Stephen King inspired or based off of a movie. So Logan picked Cujo for our grand finale.
Yes. Oh, this movie, when we get into it, you'll figure out Becca has a little bit of different opinion, but this movie is, I think, one of the most powerful Stephen King adaptations made into film. There's some tons of emotion that go on in this movie, and I just love this movie so much. I love the book, and the movie is right up there with the book. It's so freaking good. It's a fantastic movie. I can go on and on. It is definitely, it's funny. You wouldn't think about a story about a rabid dog would be so good, in my opinion, but it's just the story itself and how it basically embodies fear and shows you different versions of fear through different characters throughout the story. Definitely just something, I don't know, like I really am drawn to it. So yeah. I don't know. I wasn't really prepared on how much I would like to talk about Cujo, but but yeah, I mean, what let's just start off. What did you like about the movie?
I mean, I'm indifferent towards the movie, so I don't have anything I like or dislike about it. I have no feelings towards it.
Okay. There wasn't like something that you can be like, well, you know what? I kind of like what they did there.
I mean, it's about a rabid dog killing people. I don't like. And then I personally feel like the cars scene, yes, there were parts of it that, were very heartfelt or like, they pulled at the heartstrings. But then it just started to just be a little bit of overkill.
You think so? Okay. All right.
Because honestly, like, get out of the car and beat the shit out of the dog.
Yeah, but it's a big dog, and Dee Wallace is a little woman.
I mean, your kid's in trouble. Get out and beat the shit out of the dog. Like, I just don't have patience for scenes that just take too long.
Oh, okay. So you just felt like it was kind of like too long?
Yeah, I just said that. It went on for too long.
All right.
Like, I feel like the sheriff should have came and got attacked, but, like, somehow made his way over to the gun, or Dee Wallace should have got out of the car, ran over, grabbed the gun, and shot the dog while I was attacking the cop. Like, that's when it should have ended. Well, but it continued on after that. I'm like, okay, now we're just continuing forward. Mm-hmm. Like, way beyond what's necessary.
Got it. You seem kind of sour about it. You really didn't like it.
No, I'm just saying it's just, I really don't like when scenes just feel overly drawn out.
I mean, see, that's the thing is, I don't know. That's
because you like the movie.
I know. I just feel, but I understand when a scene can be drawn out, but I don't know, for some reason with this movie, I don't feel like it is its runtime. I get like the beginning of that movie is definitely a build up, and you had to learn the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, that part was fine. The characters are very sweet. The family dynamics very sweet. It sucks that she's having an affair. That's kind of like stupid and a minuscule detail. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's part of it because I mean, like it breaks. Like the book breaks it down a little bit more, but the thing is, you obviously don't have the time for that in the movie because they would definitely be even longer.
But like then the Tad and his dad, that relationship is very sweet and heartwarming and stuff like that. It just it got to the end where it's like, okay, they're in the car, like they're stuck in the vehicle at Camber's house, and they've been stuck there for a while, and that's just the part where it's like, okay, come on now, like, move on.
Okay, all right.
That's when it started to put a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like, this is just dicking around too much. It is.
I don't know. Okay.
Getting stuck in there for a little bit, but, like, getting stuck in there as long as she was, or they were, or whatever, is kind of like, okay, come on.
All right, then.
You asked. You got an answer.
I don't think I should have asked.
I don't know why you did.
I want to make sure next time Becca doesn't like the movie not to say something.
Yeah. Now, again, I don't dislike the movie. You keep saying I don't like the movie. I don't dislike the movie. I'm just indifferent towards it.
Okay. Understood.
Do you want to tell us what you like about the movie?
Oh, well, see, the thing is like, well, that's the weird.
Besides everything?
No, but the things that you bring up, it's weird because I feel the exact opposite. Like, I understand, like, yeah, I mean, she was stuck in the car. The dog wouldn't leave. And the dog is very big and very vicious. And it's just like every single time she tries to get.
I mean, she looked over at that bat like 600 times.
Yeah, but the fact of taking, like, a dog is so much faster than a human being. You know what I mean? Even if it, even with it being a Saint Bernard, I mean, there's just like.
There were plenty of opportunities. Like when he jumped through the window of the house, like busted through that window, it would have taken him a hot minute to get back out of there and get after her. She could have slowly.
He didn't go in the house. He just broke the window.
I thought he was like half in, half out the window.
He just broke the window when he jumped on it, then kind of came back. But he didn't go around through the house and stuff like that.
I know he didn't go around through the house, but I'm saying like when he was occupied with that, she could have quietly opened the door, grabbed the bat that's right next to the car, and attacked the dog.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, like, I know, but also you got to think of like. Maybe, I don't know, like the fact of like sometimes fear freezes you. So the fact that she is scared and stuff. And like, this is also.
I know, but your kid's in the car sitting there like dying.
This is before all, when those incidents happened, it wasn't as bad as it was. I mean, she wasn't like on her last leg of like,
literally.
Okay, I've got to get, I literally got to get out of the car to save my baby. But I mean, I don't know. I understand. I can see how like someone could not like the movie. I mean, I'm not saying this is an amazing award-winning movie. I don't know. For some reason about it, like I like it. I like the book, and I think it's a very good adaptation of the book.
Maybe I just don't like Stephen King. No offense, Stephen King, because I don't like The Shining either.
Well, you didn't like The Shining, and then what else did we do? Did we? No, you like Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, it was okay. That one definitely messes with your head a little bit when it comes to like hurting kids.
Yeah, and that like merged like that.
That one gets a little uncomfortable.
That like married the movie and the book together when Mike Flanagan did that one.
Yeah.
So and then also he's an amazing director. I mean, I'll get into the movie. So like we had was it Lewis Teague that did this, and I mean the directing in this movie, I think, is very well done. And this movie, he has stated as his favorite movie. This is this is the movie that he felt like he did his best work on. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anyone's familiar, he did Alligator, which Alligator is very good. And it's a definitely different type of movie. It is another big animal movie. But in itself, Alligator is you think it's going to be a schlocky, dumb alligator movie, but when you actually get to watching, it's like the pacing's very good, the storyline's very good, the characters are lovable and stuff like that. And then same thing goes for when it comes to, I think, what he did with Cat's Eye. Well, yes, we have a special guest, Kitty. If audio listeners, our cat, it keeps on bugging us to pet him underneath the table. So Becca has brought him out from underneath the table.
Yeah, he's a special guest.
He's our 40-pound cat. No, I'm joking. I think he's like 20 pounds.
He's my old man.
But
there's a little ASMR.
I think we get some of it. But I mean, yeah. I mean, he is a good director, and I think the movie shot very well. Stephen King wrote the first adaptation of the script, which they didn't really use it. They just felt like it kind of varied too far from the book, and they wanted to go back to the book. So then they changed things up a little bit. The one thing is he did write in the script that Tad would live. Spoiler alert. If you haven't read the book, and you want to, but anyway, Tad dies in the book.
Yeah.
Which is a very big deal. Like, I mean, Stephen King stated as if there was anything he can do and go back, any book that he could ever go back and change, that was Cujo. He really wanted to change the ending of Cujo. Mm-hmm. He got so much hate mail after the book came out, and he just thought he went like too dark. Because I remember there are stories that Cujo was written in one weekend. He wrote the entire book in one weekend. Apparently he got, I don't know if these are just stories, but apparently he just got had tons of coke and just like did tons of lines of coke, and he woke up. I think
sounds like a TMZ story.
Well, I think he started like on a Friday, woke up on a Sunday, and couldn't recollect even writing the book. And he looks down and he has a trash can full of bloody napkins from him blowing his nose for how much coke he was doing, and a book was finished. I mean, that's the story. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's the story. But yeah, he has, like I said, he has stated back that this would be one of the films that he definitely would want to go back and change. And I do like the fact, like, because that was heartbroken when I found out Tad died in the movie. I mean, in the book, sorry. When I found out Tad died in the book, I was like, I was shocked because I had seen the movie a long time ago, long time ago. And then I did the book, and then I was like, oh, you killed Tad? And like, I was really upset. And it's in the way it's done. It's when Tad dies, it's like you don't know he's dead, especially if you've seen the movie. You don't know he's dead unless you looked it up, you know? You just think it's going to have a happy ending, and you realize it really doesn't. And then with the movie itself too, the score itself is beautiful. It's like a freaking Disney movie, how beautifully orchestrated it is. And that was Charles Bernstein. And it's so beautifully, like, you can start in the beginning of the movie with the score while he's chasing the rabbit. When I say he, meaning Cujo. And then throughout the scenes, you get the nice violins of sense of terror, but then it gets all beautiful, especially at the end. It just wraps up like you think you're watching Homeward Bound at the end with how beautiful the music sounds and stuff like that. I think Dee Wallace in this movie did a fantastic job. I think I love Dee Wallace. We watched Critters. Yeah, Critters, and she is, I don't know, she's so heartwarming of a character. I mean, she was a a scream queen herself. You know, you got Hills Have Eyes, you've got Critters, E.T. Sci-Fi, The Howling, which is they're probably arguably one of the best, or if not the second best werewolf movie of all time. And then which was funny. And then she's in Alligator 2, which is funny because Lewis Teague did Alligator 1, and then Alligator 2. Dee Wallace is. It's kind of weird how there's like a weird connection there. But I mean, if we're going to get into the movie, so I'm going to start going to like some of the cool things about the movie. The movie, the book that the movie's based off of, Stephen King got the idea apparently when he went to get his motorcycle worked on, and he was having some issues with it, and he went out to a guy's farm, and he had a big burly dog that was mean, though. It wasn't a Saint Bernard. I don't believe it was Saint Bernard, but it was a mean dog. And he got the idea. He's like, what if you were ever trapped and somewhere where no one could help you, and you had to face off against a mean creature like a dog, something that's real. And that's where he got the concept to write Cujo. As far as when it comes to the dogs, I mean, everyone tells a different story. They say there was 5 to 6 dogs. The latest interview I saw with Dee Wallace, she said there was 13 dogs. But even if you go back and watch an older interview, she said there was only 6. So I don't really know how many dogs were used. But the cool thing about the dogs was they were adamant about it being a Saint Bernard. Yeah. But when they went to the dog trainers, that was the problem with dog trainers. They were like, well, we don't have any Saint Bernards trained like that.
Yeah.
We don't train St. Bernards that way. So, I mean, they got with I didn't write his name down, but he literally had to train these dogs, freshly train them just for the movie. And they were never trained in a kind of style because they were like, why don't you pick like a German Shepherd or a Doberman?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, so in the scene where he jumps through the window, if you're watching it in slow motion, you can see someone pulling back out the window.
Well, and there's also like
you see a hand pop out and he gets yanked back out of the window.
There's another scene where he's on top of the car and he's trying to get in the window and he kind of like falls off the car.
Oh yeah.
If you look, because obviously your attention's not at the actual the
surroundings.
The dashboard. But if you look at the dashboard through the window, there's like someone holding up something to get the dog's attention, to make them come off the roof and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. But when he tries to get the phone, the rotary phone from ringing, he's jumped in the window and then suddenly you see a hand reach out and pull him back out the window. And then it pans over back to the car real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, and apparently the dog was the sweetest dogs. They were all good dogs, and all they trained them by having them like rabbits, like a toy rabbit, and that's what they were. They were just trained to go after the rabbit, And then they said in some of the scenes they actually had to tie the dog's legs down tie the dog's tail to its legs because they were so happy and joy. And, so to make it look actually more vicious and not like wagging its tail. And there's some scenes, if you look at it, there's some scenes where you can actually see where the tail is like literally glued to not literally glued, but like you can tell it's not moving.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about too with this movie, and they don't really cross it, but the books there was going to be a supernatural element to it. So the book has a supernatural element where a serial killer from a previous Stephen King book is technically supposed to come back and like basically be a beacon of fear of like a monster or some sort, like almost like a virus of some sort.
Yeah.
And it was Frank Todd from the Dead Zone. That was the serial killer in the Dead Zone because the sheriff that gets killed, he was in the Dead Zone. And he was with Johnny when Johnny ended up capturing and getting finding Frank Todd, which was the serial killer. And then it sucks because then he makes it into this story, but then he ends up dying. The book is extremely gory. I mean, if anything about Stephen King books, he has a very vivid way of telling gore. And I think the movie did it well because I think if you made it too gory, it'd be very slocky. And I think it would have taken away how much of I think of an actually pretty kind of movie this is. So I do like the fact that the gore has been dumbed down based off the book. Because you're talking about he like rips people's stomachs open, pulls their intestines out. Goes in very vivid detail. The sad thing is, so when it comes to the director, so Lewis Teague wanted to direct this movie. He really, really wanted to direct it, but they were having issues at a studio head, just didn't understand his vision. But then the movie went from studio to studio, but they had already picked out a director. And when it went to the secondary studio, I believe it was Warner Brothers. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were like, well, we're going to stick with the same director. And then day one of filming, the director pulled out, and luckily he wasn't busy. And they asked him, would you do it? And he was like, they go, well, you got 24 hours. Yeah. Well, once you get on set, he goes, can I have 48 hours? And they're like, done. We'll shut down production for 48 hours so you can get your stuff together and we can start filming. And I think it's great. It's sad that he hasn't done like a crazy amount of stuff, but like I would say Alligator is really well done. Really well done. And then the Dead Zone, not the Dead Zone, but he also did Jewel of the Nile, which is the sequel to Romancing Stone. I think that's a good sequel.
Yeah.
He definitely has a way of doing comedy. He can do horror. He can do action. So it's definitely good that he was finally got to do it because he wanted to do it. He liked the book. He really, really wanted to do the movie. And the car scenes were actually done in winter. So all that sweat you're seeing on him is like it's like a type of like not Karo syrup, but like what's the grease you use? What's the grease that you put on your body?
Baby oil?
No, like a grease, but it's like thick, like
Oh, I don't know. I don't grease
remember.
my body on the regular.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's a type of grease that you can put on your body, or whatever, but that's like to make them look like they're sweating constantly.
Why would you put grease on your body?
Some people put grease on the body to make them sweat more
Oh.
because it clogs the pores, like boxers and stuff think Rocky. They put grease on their face and stuff like that.
I thought that had to do with the way they take punches.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's another reason why you would put grease on your body.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, what's the something jelly? What's that?
Petroleum jelly.
Petroleum jelly. Maybe that's what I'm talking about.
That's what they put on fighters. Yeah.
Yeah. Petroleum jelly. Okay, that's what I was looking at. No grease. But yeah, and then
some bacon grease.
Put some Crisco on your face.
I'm like, what?
Oh.
Anyways.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Other times, I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so that all these scenes where they're like, Tag has got no clothes on and stuff like that.
Yeah, I will say they were like ridiculously sweaty. Like the cop was sweating and he didn't even come out of a hot ass car.
Well, but how would it be?
And then also like the scene where the dad's like rushing around to like, well, he's not rushing around, but he's cleaning up Tad's room while he's waiting for the sheriff to come back. He's got armpits stained, sweats the size of bowling balls.
Stress. You sweat during stress.
He's got that like T mark on his back as he's running out of the house. Like, damn, y'all sweaty.
But like,
I'm someone that can sweat.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I like I said, like certain little things like that. Yeah, like they're sweaty. Like, I mean, he's been running around. He's stressed. But yeah, it was like 30, 40. But it was like 30 to 40 degrees outside when they filmed these scenes. And they were like...
Yeah, well, they overdid the grease a little bit.
But they ended up having to put like some heaters in the car.
Yeah.
But that caused issues with the sound. So they ended up having to turn them off while filming. But
yeah.
But I think it's really well done because you would know. There's one scene where I see a little bit of breath. When Dee Wallace is outside, you see a little bit of breath coming out of her mouth, and you're like, "Oh,
I didn't notice.
It's awful cold." Just a little bit, and obviously you can see like we watched the 4K version, so that's probably why it's always it's all nice and transferred and pretty looking. But and like I said, I talked about how earlier like this movie, the theme of the movie is fear.
Yeah.
Like you've got Tad scared of monsters, a fictional fear.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be Frank Todd. So that monster, in the book, there actually is a monster in his closet. You think it's not, but then you find out it actually is, but they don't really go into full detail for it.
Yeah.
And Stephen King's kind of like that. He'll start something and then just like drop it halfway through the book. They'll be like, I'm not going to bring it up anymore.
Yeah.
At one point in time I thought it was... I thought it was like something to do with it for some reason, but it came out years and years later, so it wasn't. I thought it would be like a link to like Pennywise, but I don't think they don't think they ever did anything with it. But I mean, as far as that, I mean, it's that's not a lot of crazy things to really talk about it. I mean, it had a good production. It is. Like I said, there's a lot of adaptation of Stephen King books, and I think this is probably the best one. The best one. I think that is the most enjoyable because the most accurate one is Firestarter. That is the book. That is 100% the book. And basically, all they did is they cut out a lot of the backstory. That's just stuff you didn't need. They gave you what you needed as far as you knew what was happening, but you don't need. Vic in, a conference room going over and over how they're going to fix the Sharp account. You just need to know that he went there and he's leaving early. Yeah. That's it. So do you want to read the summary? Yeah. Do the summary on the back of the DVD?
Yeah. So on the front, that is a horrible picture.
Yeah. It's like, and that's an old DVD too. That's like early DVDs. The new Blu-ray is really nice. All I can think
about is if we like took one of our cats and like opened their mouths like that, all you would see these little like chiclet teeth.
Bandit would look
even
a little
Cruz
bit like that.
Has a little chiclet teeth.
Also, dogs don't even have. Do dogs even have middle sharp teeth? I don't even think so. Okay.
Where's our dog at? We're gonna play dentist later. Yeah, no, they don't even. Obviously, you have the canines, which are sharp. I mean, sometimes they are like.
You don't look at the cat. The cat's got little stubby teeth.
Yeah, his are a little crooked. I think they can be like on the bottom a little pointy, but I think for the most part they're little like chiclet style teeth. Anyways, monstrous canine evil stalks a helpless, isolated family in this shock-packed horror thriller from suspense master Stephen King's best-selling novel. Starring Dee Wallace, Daniel Hugh Kelly, and Ed Lauter, Cujo unleashes the ultimate in nightmarish, unrelenting terror. It's cold season. In rural Maine, Vic and Donna Trenton struggle to repair their crumbling marriage, while their young son Tad befriends a hawking, lovable, 200-pound St. Bernard named Cujo. With Vic away on business, Donna and Todd take their decrepit car to be fixed at the remote farm of the mechanic Lauter. As their aging Pinto sputters to a stop and dies, Cujo appears. But the once docile dog has undergone a hideous transformation and becomes a slavering, demonic, implacable killer, possessed by almost supernatural strength and unholy cunning. Critically acclaimed, Cujo is a fearsome, spine-chilling tour de force from the most popular name in horror.
Well done. Even with the sick voice, well done.
You're lucky I'm even here. Just kidding. Wouldn't it be the same without me?
I will say she is a trooper. 90% of the time she doesn't want to do this, but she is a trooper.
You're not supposed to wrap me out like that. Now they know.
I'm joking. I'll cut that out.
Cut it.
I won't cut it out.
So anyway, the opening scene is Cujo essentially chasing a rabbit.
Yeah. Well, also we get the really cool credits. The opening title scene with the blood spiral. And like, once again, I'm not going to play, I would play the music because it's so beautiful, but I don't want it to get copyrighted.
Yeah, don't do that.
But I mean, the music is just gorgeous in this scene. And, Cujo running through the woods. It's so pretty. Yeah,
it's pretty much just a dog being a dog, and he's chasing a bunny rabbit. He's not like, he's barking and he's a loud dog.
Yeah.
And he chases the bunny rabbit into a little den, a bunny's den.
A little cavern kind of like thing.
Well, they call them dens.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure. So the bunny dives into the den, and Cujo shoves his head in there, is barking at the bunny, trying to get the bunny. But there's a bunch of bats in the den, and one of the bats attacks Cujo's face, bites him on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Cujo whimpers and kind of runs off back home. As we're getting this, we're also getting Tad, who is getting ready for bed, and he does the cliche kid thing. So his closet's cracked open, and he shuts it, and he goes over, and he's about to turn the light off, but he's trying to see like how fast he can run and jump on his bed so he can like miss underneath the bed.
Basically
in the dark.
Yeah. So like someone doesn't grab him,
like running up the steps kind of thing. Which I was 100%.
Oh my God. Living out in the middle of the country. I
don't like your house at night.
No, it's I know none of y'all know what it looks like, but I will say, if you're in my house, my parents' house at night, you can't see out the windows, but anyone outside the windows can definitely
because his parents
clearly
keep all
see.
The lights on and don't have Kirby, if you're listening, and they didn't have any blinds like the first time I stayed, or they didn't close the blinds.
Yeah.
So like the first time we ever visited in Tennessee, I'm someone that goes to the bathroom multiple times a night. I don't know, whatever. And I didn't want to go in like his parents' bedroom to use their bathroom because like that's weird to me. So you have to go downstairs and you pass by all these like almost ceiling to floor windows, these huge windows that don't have blinds on. And I know the light's on inside. I can't see out that window, but I know if there was something on the other side of that window, it can see me.
Yeah.
And you have to pass by a bunch of them to get all the way to the kitchen to the other side where the bathroom is in the washroom.
But yeah, it's I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Definitely, like when I was like
now when we go, they close the blinds.
Oh, growing up, it was miserable. Like I would like say, I went out with Cameron and we went to the movies, and I got dropped off when I was like, like
you just know something
10 or 12.
They're watching you.
10 or 12 years old, and I would be by myself. And eventually Haley would come, later, whatever. Yeah. But my parents would be gone. So the first thing I do is I get in, I unlock the door. I turn all the lights on, but then I would go to every single room, open every single closet, and look out under every single bed.
Whenever I was home alone, I definitely turned all the lights on, but I never checked.
Oh no, I had to check. I
just turned the lights on, and then I just stuck myself in my room, was like, I'm good.
There's two houses out there. There was Grant's house and our house. And the thing is, and you think our house is scary. Grant's house was even scarier.
Well, yeah, hers is tucked back there.
Yeah, it was even scarier because you only had one street light. And she had, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, scary. Living in the woods can get scary sometimes. But yeah. Back to the movie.
Yeah, he does an old school kid thing that we all did, where he jumps on his bed, so nothing under his bed.
And it's really well shot. If you pay attention, before he does, they had to build two sets.
Yeah.
When he does it the first time, it is a house, and then the second set was actually a set.
Yeah.
And they elongated the room, so you got the visual scene.
Yeah.
That was really well done.
So then he jumps in bed, and the closet door, unfortunately, cracks open again, and you get him screaming for his mom, and his dad runs in, and they just have a talk with him about how there's no monsters in there. It's okay.
So, this reminded me. So, Grayson one time woke up in the middle of the night
Yeah.
screaming. My son wrote about monsters, and he was scared there was monsters. Okay, so I come in, and he's I'm trying.
Oh God, I remember
yeah,
this.
I try to console him, and Becca comes in with me, and I'm like, it's okay, buddy, it's okay, babe, but there's monsters. And my natural response was to say, it's okay, they're good monsters, they're not going to hurt you. And Becca's like, no, Logan, there is no monsters.
Yeah.
There's no monsters, Grayson. I don't know why in the
I'm
world.
like, why would you tell him that there are monsters?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, no, buddy, there's no monsters. I don't know what Daddy's talking about.
I don't know. I for some reason I was like, buddy, but they're good monsters. They're not going to hurt you.
He's like, no monsters, no monsters. I'm like, there's no monsters. I don't know what Daddy's talking about.
I don't know. Oh God, that's one of those moments I'm glad you were there.
Yeah, there's good monsters. No, the kid don't want any monsters.
Oh God. But,
anyways, so they're talking to Tad, trying to comfort him and stuff like that, and tell him that it's okay. They check out the closet. They get his teddy bear out of the closet, and then we move on. You kind of get a little fight. Like at that point, the family dynamic was super cute.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's another thing is like when I was going back to the supernatural, there was supposed to be in the book there is a monster. He sees the teeth and sees the eyes, and then he goes into the dad goes in and messes with the closet, and he puts something up, and I think it's folded sheets. And the folded sheets or something were on the ground. And then he wakes up in the morning and the folded sheets have been put back. And there's a questions at the table. It's like, did you move these? And he asks the wife, did you move them? No, I didn't move them. And that lets you know like, oh shit, there was something in the closet. But then that's it. Like, that's all we hear of that.
Rightfully so. But so then that family dynamic just get punched in the gut because then you find out that Donna is sleeping with Steve Kemp. God. Which she calls like the neighborhood stud or whatever. And
that was Steve Kemp, which is who is played by Christopher Stone, which they would be married, and that was her husband until he passed away in 1995. It's very sad. He was actually a very good actor. He didn't do a lot. Like I mean, that's this thing. This movie's like, you got Vic. Vic, who's played by Daniel Hugh Kelly, which was mainly a soaps guy. This was his first like legit like acting role in movie, and I think he knocked it out of the park. Because I will say, one of the best Stephen King books of all time is Pet Sematary, and that movie nails it. But god damn it, does the daggum dad if he's not the worst actor I've ever seen. I mean, that movie, the acting, his performance is so bad in that movie. And I know, and usually you guys, I don't crap on things, but that performance his performance is so bad, and it really just ruins the movie for me. It really does. He's not believable at all about losing his son. It is just wooden acting, and and that's such a good book. And and then they remade it, and it just sucks because we got a good adaptation of original version of the book to the movie, but it's just the acting was so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but
that's not even the movie we're talking about.
I'm saying this movie has very good acting in it.
Yeah.
Very good acting in it.
Yeah, that I can agree with. So then Vic's car's having trouble, so he takes it to Joe Campbell's, which looks like the neighborhood car shop or whatever, and he's hoping Joe can look at it today. Joe's kind of like, pfft.
No, that's not Joe. So he took it to a car shop. That guy blew him off.
Blew him off. He's like, I don't know if I can get to today. And the mailman whispers to him,
Yes.
6 plus minus miles down the road, Joe Campbell, he'll get you right in.
Yeah, and he won't rob you blind.
Yeah, he won't rob you blind. So Vic's like, okay, cool, bye. So he goes 6 miles down the road, down a dirt road to a secluded farmhouse.
Takes Donna and Tad with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where you meet Cujo.
Yeah, and he is, they're the family dynamic here. You see.
Well, you meet Cujo the second time.
Yeah. But we see they're kind of scared about him a little bit, and that's when you're like, oh, Cujo's not, Cujo won't hurt anybody. He's the sweetest dog.
Yeah, Campbell's son is like, no, Cujo's great. He loves little kids.
Yeah.
And Donna's hesitant, and Vic's like, just, it's fine. And him and Joe Campbell go test drive the car so he can hear what's happening to him.
And that is one thing that you get a lot in the book is you get a lot of Joe Campbell in the book. You get a lot of it, and they cut out. They pretty much
he kind of sucks.
You think he sucks now. The freaking book, he's horrible in the book, but it makes sense. He's not the main character in the movie. There's no reason to spend a lot of time on his part of the book. But oh my God, like there's one thing, if you read Stephen King or whatever, you find out like he knows what you hate. And he doesn't know you, but he knows what readers actually hate to hear about people, and he'll write it, and you just despise someone so much because he does it so well because you just like it's almost like oh my God, like he really knows how to write awful things, but he does it strategically, so you're invested in the book because it does go into a whole backstory with the wife leaving him and stuff like that, which we get. They don't say it out loud, but you get. I was like. Checking with you. I was like, you understand she's leaving. And she goes, oh, yeah, I understood that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so Joe Campbell's going to work on the car. We get a little Cujo, very sweet dog. And now it's time for Tad to go to bed. And Vic reads him words that he put together to make the monsters go away. So
and that's sweet. That scene is sweet. I really like that scene. It's so sweet.
So he says his little words and he, there's no monsters here, no monsters allowed. You cannot, you are not welcome.
Yeah.
And he tucks Tad in and puts Tad to bed. The next morning, though, he finds out that a brand that he and his partner are dealing with business-wise is now in a crisis because a cereal that they partnered with is, giving people food poisoning.
Their advertisement agency.
Yeah. And so it's all over the TV and he's in crisis mode because they need to figure something out because they backed this brand.
Yeah. So basically what happened is, they don't back they made the advertising for the brand and they are trying to basically, it's like DEFCON 1. Like they need to like fix what went wrong.
Yeah.
And what it ends up being is there's a dye that was used for the cereal.
Yeah. And people are just getting sick from it. It's a red dye.
Well, that's the thing is they actually don't get sick. What it is kids that happen to get sick and throw up that ate the cereal puke up the red dye and people think they were puking up blood. Yeah. That's what it was. So, but it's just the red dye somehow coated their existing fluids in their stomach. And then that's why it's such a big deal. Like it's not actually causing any harm. It's just scary. And that's the whole ad campaign they need to rework. And because they had a professor who says the cereal is all great, nothing wrong here. Yeah. And it's a big deal because, you got, I think it was like 300 people or to 1,000 people or something like that who actually like experienced it. But, it went just wild in the news and stuff. And so that's a big portion of the book too, which once again, they did a really well job at turning this into a movie because we get the gist. We don't need everything to know.
Yeah, you get that there's a problem and it's eventually the reason why Vic needs to go out of town.
Yeah.
It gives him a reason to leave town.
Yeah, it was very well done.
So then you snap back over to Joe Campbell and you haven't really gotten any insight on his character yet, but now you do.
Oh yeah.
He comes home and his wife bought him an engine lift because he's obviously a mechanic. A very, very nice gift, a very pricey gift. And Joe does nothing but get upset about how much that it was an expensive gift.
Well, he knew they didn't have the money. Yeah. And he was like, where'd you get this money from? And that's when
she tells him that she won the lottery. So they got $5,000. And her one thing is, I want to go on a trip to my sister in Connecticut and I want to bring Brett with me. And I also want you to get me a gift. The money will be here in 2 weeks. Please get me a gift.
No.
She asks him for a gift.
No, the gift was to go to her sister's. Oh. That was the gift. She goes, I got you a gift. So now, how about you give me one? I want to go to my sister's. Oh, okay. That's what it was.
I thought it was two separate things.
No. Because and I can understand how maybe you probably got that. I just I did the book, obviously.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
So ultimately Joe says, that's fine. But while she's out of town, Joe's is going to have babes, beer, and baseball.
Yeah,
with his buddy.
Yeah, him and his buddy, I think was
They're
it Gary?
Essentially drunks.
Yeah. And that's that. You just find out like, okay, well, I'm going to take advantage of while she's out of town. So I'm going to go off and, I'm going to go to Boston with my buddy and we're going to see some titties and then we're going to get drunk and they're going to watch some baseball basically.
Yeah.
I think you can say titties on YouTube, I think.
I don't know.
We'll
find out.
Boobies.
Too late now.
But yeah, so we get the dynamic of what's going on there, and it kind of makes them more sleazy and stuff like that. And after that point, we're looking at where are we at?
So at this point, Donna goes to Steve and pretty much tells him that they're not going to be a thing anymore.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
She said, I have a terrific husband. I have a terrific son. I don't know what I'm doing.
So going back to the fear part. So that was Donna's fear. Donna's fear was she was going to waste her life away. She was young. And, she got married, had a son, and now she's just sitting at home and does nothing but take care of her son and play housewife. And her fear was, this is this all the life I have? This is what my life is now. And she wasn't kind of like ready for that kind of lifestyle. And that was her fear, that she was just going to waste her life away being the housewife. And that's why it made her feel good about seeing Steve Kemp.
Yeah.
And they go very in detail with that in the book. Which you don't really understand that. You don't really understand why she's seeing Steve. They kind of like, they don't have all the time to explain it or whatever.
Well, yeah.
But it's like I said, as far as like I was bringing up fear, there's like 3 different types of fear. And then the fear of Vic losing the Sharp account, which is the number one account they have. They need that to stay in business, basically. But yeah, like, so she goes to Steve's and just basically tells him it's over.
But unfortunately, as she's leaving, Steve chases after her and is arguing with her at the car, and Vic drives by and sees what he believes is Donna and Donna's car with Steve outside. But by the time he makes a U-turn, Donna's gone and back home.
Yeah.
However, Steve comes back to visit her to negotiate, to try to still continue with this fling, or I don't know what he's trying to do. And he ends up trying to force himself on Donna, and they get into an argument. A glass breaks, and Tad comes in, but behind Tad is also Vic. And Steve storms off. Donna asks Tad to go outside to ride his bicycle, and this is where you get Vic asking Donna just yes or no.
Yeah.
And she says yes.
And if you see that when he shows up, she's like, where's Tadpole at? She lies to him because she wants to make sure he doesn't do anything. She says he's upstairs. He's not even in the house yet.
Yeah.
Because Vic picked him up from summer camp early. Which is funny, this movie, watching it, you just got like...
Yeah, he just walks up in the park, plucks his kid, and leaves.
Yeah, and then you realize...
That's a big no-no.
No, big no-no. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You like, school is like... It's so funny how like...
It's like get into a military base, which is good. It should be.
No, yeah. It's crazy because like, there was a funny movie like, So Totally Killer just came out. And that was one thing is she goes into high school and she's like, yeah, I'm a foreign exchange student from blah, 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 blah. And the woman was like, all right, here's your classes. She's like, you don't need any paperwork? What? No.
Yeah.
You're late for gym class. And it's just kind of funny how like the jokes are like how loosely things were back then and stuff like that. But it is kind of funny watching that. Like, and you think of a scenario like that you can like relate to, and you're like, that is very awkward and very weird. You definitely would have to at least sign them out and talk to someone. Can't just walk up and start grabbing kids.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we get back to, now we're going back to the Campbell's house. And this is the day that his wife is leaving and going to Connecticut, and she's taking Brett.
Leaving him.
Yeah.
Low-key.
She's low-key leaving him. He does not know this. Yeah. So you get the fog scene, because we're back now at the famous fog scene. Now we're back at the Campbells. And this was really cool because they usually shot in Northern California and for these scenes and stuff like that. And typically it would be foggy, but for the day they choose to shoot this, they couldn't get it to be, it wasn't foggy out. So they had to bring in legit World War II fog machines to help hide soldiers during battles.
Yeah.
And it produced so much fog that the fire what's the word? Fire department was called out. The fire department was called out and actually showed up because they thought that there was a legit fire. But luckily, they just finished the scene when they showed up, so they didn't ruin the shot.
Oh yeah,
because they were really trying hard to get Cujo and the right kind of lighting and stuff like that, and make it look vicious and so forth. Because they were going to actually have a fake dog in this scene, or have a Labrador wear a dog suit, but they just thought it looked kind of weird and hokey, and they really want to try to like pull it off with actually using one of the dogs.
Yeah.
And they actually were able to do it.
Nice.
Because this movie uses dogs. It uses real dogs, men in dog suits, and dog mechanics.
Oh, nice.
Like mechanical dog head and stuff like that. So to get all the shots that they need.
Yeah.
But yes, so Brett goes out and sees Cujo, and this is when we know like Cujo's at the last end of him being conscious of being Cujo.
Yeah.
The book does it really well. You get in Cujo's head, and they do Stephen King does a really good job at like you understanding Cujo. And I do think for this movie, I think they really do a good. I know dogs can't really act, but I think they do a really good job on like shooting the dog and making you kind of understand what's going through the dog's head. Yeah. Like when certain things are too loud, he wants to hide and get away from them. Yeah. So you start to realize like, oh, it hurts his ears. He doesn't feel good and stuff like that. Yeah. They do a really good job with that. And this is the scene where you find out, like you said earlier, like, his wife is going to leave him. Yeah.
You realize she's packing up some valuable things in her suitcase. Her and Brett make their way out.
Brett's also very scared because he knows there's something wrong with Cujo, but his wife is scared.
Yeah, she's like, don't tell your daddy anything. Here's the deal. We'll call him when we get to Connecticut, and you can say, Daddy, are you going to feed my doggy while I'm gone? Did you feed my doggy? And then he'll see something's wrong with Cujo, okay? Yeah. And Brett's like, okay, Mom. And he takes the bags out. They pack up the car, and they head out. And this is where you get the first kill, which is...
No, there's no kills yet. Not yet.
He attacks Gary.
Not yet.
Okay.
No. Because after this scene, we go into the whole Vic leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Vic has to take care of that account. They need to travel to do it. So he's leaving for 10 days. You get Tad like begging him not to leave. He's also, however, leaving after he just found out about Donna's affair.
Yeah.
And that's unresolved.
Well, Tad's also scared because Daddy's leaving. Who's going to keep the monsters away?
Yeah, who's going to say my monster words?
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, buddy, I promise you, I'll write them down. Daddy already has them written down. I'll write them down so your mom can read them to you. And the thing is, Vic is very still like loving to Tad. He's just upset with Donna.
No, yeah,
like he keeps those two things separate. He tells Tad he'll be right back. It'll be very quick. And then Donna comes to say goodbye, and he just kind of scruffs her off. Mm-hmm. She tries to tell him, it's over. It's done for. Like, it's done. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, he's like, I know it's over, but that doesn't mean I can just be okay with it.
Yeah, it's not over for me.
Yeah, exactly. I know words just don't make things like that go away. And it's a very tough scene. You know what I mean? And it's very, if anyone who's ever been in situations like that, it's a very tough situation because, you got the love for somebody and you can tell like they didn't seem like they had a bad marriage. Yeah. And so like I can see how he's probably like, like why? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like there's a lot of real stuff in this movie, like real life scenarios all tacked into a horror movie. That's not even the main plot of the movie. And I think that's the reason why I like this movie. Yeah. The layers.
So unfortunately though, this matters because before Vic left, Donna had told him that her Pinto is starting to break down. Yeah. It's sputtering. And he was going to take it to Joe, but he needs to get out of town, so he leaves it for Donna to take to Joe.
Yeah. And then while Vic's leaving, now we cut back to the Campbells because Joe and Gary are going to start to leave so they can go to Boston. And Cujo shows up to Gary's house, and Gary's just like he's a really annoying character. Yeah. And you just really don't like him. He's just a slob. And he shows up to, Cujo shows up to his house, and he's like, obviously this is much different, and he's terrifying. Yeah. And he ends up attacking Gary and like literally just viciously murders him. Yeah. It goes straight to the point, And Gary in the book says he says like, I don't give a shit. He says that a lot. And he's like, and they put it in the movie a little bit like he's like, I don't give a shit if I do, like go to Boston with you, or he's like, or the scene where he's like, come after me, come on, I don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. But this is a good scene because it's very like him going through the door. It's very stressful. I think that's one thing is like these kind of movies have a stress factor, and I think it makes you engaged. Mm-hmm. But then, so he's killed now. Like so, it's like a little time later we see now Joe's showing up. Joe's showing up to pick up Gary and bring him into Boston. And there's victim number 2, Joe. And that is another thing is like you get to see this awful character switch on a dime and go from being just a mean dad, like in the book he beats his wife. Yeah. And he goes to be this abusive person to like terrified within a flick of a switch. Very well done. Very well shot. And, this, we don't get any gory scene in this because it cuts away and we see, obviously he's dead. Yeah. But still a good scene.
So Donna and Tad are on their way to Joe's house. They're singing along. They're driving. She pulls up to Joe's house. Mind you, it's a very secluded farm.
Well, the car breaks down.
Yeah.
Like literally, she doesn't park
she's like, come on, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And it breaks down right in front of Joe's house. Cujo's out there and obviously is covered in blood and looking very rabies. And he starts to attack the Pinto while Donna is trying to get Tad out of his seatbelt. Yeah.
Very good jump scare. Very good jump scare. And then a very good one. The music and the dog barks were very well done. This is a good scene.
And then so she shuts herself in the car, shuts her and Tad in the car as Cujo's trying to, still attack the Pinto and stuff. And while this is happening, Vic, he's landed, he's where he needs to be, whatever, arrived, not landed. And he keeps trying to call home. But Donna's not answering. So he just thinks it's either her having an affair again, her ignoring him, something's wrong, but he kind of writes it off because he's at work. He has work to do.
Yeah. And in this movie, there's a lot of like parts where like, okay, we're don't worry, we'll just wait till this happens. But then something comes in and basically reflects that and prevents that thing from happening. It's one of those kind of movies where you're on the edge of your seat because you're like, all right, come on, save him. All right, come on, save him. Like the scene after this, like they're going to sit there and be like, okay, don't worry.
Donna's thought process is the mailman's going to come. Yeah, it'll be okay.
They stay there overnight. Don't worry. We'll just wait for the mailman to show up. He's got to come, and we'll be able to.
And then you flash over to the mailman, and he's packing up a package for Joe Campbell. It's a fender, and the front desk person stops him. He's like, "No, we got a notice. Hold Campbell's until notified." Yeah. He's like, "Oh, my brain's not on right. Sorry."
Yeah, because Joe Campbell
hands it back and goes on his way.
Yeah, he turned off the mail while he's gone. So which makes sense when you're getting like parts and stuff like that delivered to your house and stuff. I don't even think anyone does that anymore, to be honest. Maybe, I don't know. Turns off deliveries while you're on vacation.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so then it cuts back to another scene where Donna is basically waited long enough for the mailman and he doesn't show. And she is going to basically try to attempt to leave. Yeah. She tried to find help or like basically get some sort of help for them. And she attempts to leave the car. And this is where we get the famous first attack by Cujo. We get a really cool, right before this, we get a really cool scene where he headbutts the car and dents the car in, which was kind of really cool how they done. That was like the man in the dog suit. Yeah. They basically shot this movie just for, where Cujo runs at the car. Well, what you don't know is as he's running at the car, that's actually a car with no door. Yeah. And he runs through the car and they just cut it and they added the scene of the man headbutting it. But yeah, this is a really intense scene where basically Donna gets viciously attacked by Cujo and she's, he tears her up. Yeah. And it is, like I said, this.
And then you also get Tad in the back screaming like, no, mommy, no, mommy, no, mommy, mommy, help.
The acting, even Tad, that child did such a good job. Yeah. Great acting all around the board. Like, I feel like this is real.
And then she's also trying to quiet Tad because she realizes Tad's screams, just like the phone ringing, freak Cujo
Makes him
out.
even more vicious. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's trying to hush Tad, but she's also screaming. There's several times where Cujo attacks the car and she's like begging Tad and like covering his mouth and trying to like, push Tad into her to muffle his screams and stuff like that. Cause she's trying to explain to him, you're scaring the doggy, you're scaring the doggy.
Yeah.
And stuff like that
to
try to stop Cujo.
Yeah. And then, meanwhile, like once again, this isn't like a lot of cutting back and forth between.
Now Vic's getting antsy.
Yeah,
he's tried calling several times. He's having a hard time focusing.
It's been like over 24 hours. Yeah.
And finally, you see the wheel turning. Where like he's just gonna leave.
He's worried at this point. He first was scared that she's sleeping around and she's going back to Steve, but she's like, okay, but she would also come home at one point in time.
She's got Tad.
But now no one's home. So this is definitely like, okay, something's going on here. So I've got to go home. And she basically tells Roger, I got to go. This scene, this is a much big, like in the book, this is a much lower.
And he also finally tells his business partner, Donna had an affair and something's not right. Yeah. I need to go home.
That dynamic was a little bit better in the book with Roger and him. And it was a much bigger, powerful scene of him breaking down and telling Roger. And Roger was very supportive. But so Vic leaves. He's going to come home and trying to figure out what's going on. Donna, now it's morning time and Donna has woken up. We're going back to the car. Donna's woke up and Tad is having a heat stroke style
so her and Tad
seizure.
have essentially stripped down, or at least she stripped Tad down to just his shirt and his shorts.
Yeah.
To try to stay cool.
And he is basically having a seizure, which is a very terrifying thing if you've ever had a child having a seizure and stuff like that.
Yeah, in my 5th grade class, a classmate like 3 desks over had a seizure.
Yeah, it's very scary. And the thing is, the actor actually said he had a seizure at one point in time in his life. And he knew kind of what to do. And he just recreated. And mind you, this kid is 5 years old. Yeah. It's crazy. Him just being like this was him being Tad. And it was just, you forget he's an actor. You feel like this is real at some points in time. He's doing such a good job. And that's very hard to do. Yeah. When you're talking about telling a 5-year-old what to do and how to act. Yeah. It's crazy. I couldn't do this as I was his age. I'd be messing around too much.
True.
But yeah, so Tad is basically having a seizure and
Donna's trying. So he's having a seizure. Donna's trying to wake him up, keeps trying to wake him up. While this is happening, though, Steve Kemp goes to Donna's house and essentially destroys the house. And you don't really necessarily know it yet, I don't think. You don't know it until Vic gets home.
Yes, you're right.
So,
also in this scene, it's fucking gross, but freaking Steve Kemp jerks off and I think comes on the bed or something like that. Yeah. It's very gross. It's very gross scene. But so he comes home and we get Vic sorry, you're right. I'm skipping too much, but yes.
Yeah, Vic comes home, and this is how you find out Steve Kemp broke in the house. Vic comes home, the house is destroyed. He calls the cops, and he 100% is like, Donna and Todd are missing, and Steve Kemp did it. He kidnapped Donna and Tad. And the sheriff goes and questions Steve, and Steve says, I destroyed the house, but I don't know. I haven't seen Donna and Tad. They weren't there when I was there. And they believe him. And Vic's like, this is ridiculous. Why would you believe him? You seriously believe him?
Yeah, and that's when the sheriff was like, the detective or whatever was like, well, where's your car, sir? He's like, if he came and did all this and abducted him, where's your car? He's like, well, it's at Joe Campbell's.
Yeah. So the sheriff, though, this was someone working with the sheriff. The sheriff, though, takes note of that and goes to Joe Campbell's house.
Yeah, Sheriff Bannerman, which is the sheriff from the Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't make it too much longer because...
Yeah, unfortunately, he gets there. He ends up getting attacked by Cujo. He kind of escapes Cujo for a little bit, but it doesn't work. Donna's watching all this unravel, and unfortunately, Tad has another seizure. And Donna's begging him, please not right now, please not right now.
Yeah.
He comes to, however, and Sheriff Bannerman is still getting attacked. And at this point, Tad now is screaming, I want my daddy, I want my daddy, I want my daddy, I want my daddy. And Donna gets very upset with him. Understandably, it's a very stressful situation to begin with.
This scene was a big deal because, I mean, she talks about it all the time when Dee Wallace talks about it all the time when they bring up Cujo. This scene was this part where they were going to take it out of the movie, but they're like, Dee, no one's going to like you if you talk to Tad this way. If you this like, she's like, and she was so adamant. She was like, if you're a mother or a parent, everyone's reached that breaking point.
Oh, yeah. So she eventually is like, I'll get you your daddy, Tad, stop. Like,
and she just yells at him. And the thing is, I will say, as being a parent, oh my God, that is 100% like, that's like I said, there's one reason why I like the movie, like that scene. Yeah. Like, oh, you're like.
It's relatable.
Oh, 100% relatable. There was one time with Grayson, and he was, he was having terrible twos or something like that, and he was freaking out over something.
Oh, yeah. He would just have these big, grand meltdowns, and you would just like.
It was about ice cream or something.
Yeah, and you can't get upset with them because, like, they don't know how to handle those big emotions. And as an adult, it's your job to handle those big emotions. Yeah. But sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Like, please.
Literally, I was the same thing. But instead of, I'll get your daddy, I was like, I'll get your ice cream. I'll get your ice cream.
Yeah. And it was because his ice cream melted because he wasn't eating it. And that's what ice cream does. But to a 2-year-old, that's the end of the world, and they don't want ice cream that's melted. I wouldn't either, but you should have ate it when it wasn't melted. But, yeah, so Vic, you see a light bulb turn on, and he races out of the house, and he's racing to the Campbells.
Basically what he does, he sat there, and he's like, okay, well, have you heard back from the sheriff?
Yeah, and they're like, no, but he's probably taking up leads. And Vic's like, you know what, forget it. He runs out of the house, jumps in his car, and is speeding off to the Campbell's house.
Yeah. And then this scene is really nice because
they wake up. At this point, they're in the hot car, heat exhaustion. Donna wakes up, and she realizes that Tad is not waking up. He was laying out in the sun in the back dashboard, and he's not waking up. He's not responding. So you get this thing where she now goes into, mother mode. And she's like, I need to save my baby. Like, what am I doing? I need to save my baby. I need to save my baby. I need to get out of here. So she leaves the car, and her and Cujo start to fight. She finally uses the bat.
Well, she's been trying to get to the bat. She's just haven't been able to because the time that she got out of the car, she got viciously mauled.
Yeah. This time she doesn't care. She gets out. She slams the door shut.
Yeah.
And she goes over to the bat, and she kind of just eggs the dog on.
Yeah, she tries to beat the shit out of him and hits a couple of times, and then the bat breaks.
Yeah, and she falls back, and he jumps on her and stabs himself.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, and then so that's, he eventually just, dies, and then...
And like every horror movie, she picks up the sheriff's gun, which he lost in the attack with Cujo.
Well, she can't get back in the car. The door's jammed.
Well, no, I'm not saying that part. She picks up the gun, and instead of shooting the dog, just in case.
Yeah.
Because in every horror film, God forbid, they do just in case.
Yes, I understand.
And this is easier said than done, I'm sure. If something happens to me, you should always just take that just in case. Chop their fucking head off.
There's been movies. Your dad, but let me just put another round in you.
Yeah, just in case. I'm saying chop their head off because there's been movies where people stab people and then they're like, I think that's good enough. No, take it all the way. You made it there. Take it all the way.
There you go. We need to take the movie that I partially written and take your ideas and we'll just merge it and we'll make our own movie.
Yeah.
Who wants to see that?
Not me. But... So then she believes he's dead. She can't get into the car. She's hitting, screaming.
I love that
trying
scene.
To bust the thing.
This scene where she shatters the glass and she just breaks down and the way she just is crying. I love this scene.
Yeah, so then she grabs Tad out of the broken back windshield, runs in the house, puts him on the table, gives him mouth to mouth. She's able to revive him. She splashed some water on him. And because she didn't, just in case... Cujo jumps through the window.
Hey, this scene got her.
Yeah.
She actually jumped. She jumped on the couch.
I usually jump. All jump scenes usually get me. But there wasn't really many in this movie, so none of them really got me until that one.
Yeah, but yes.
Even though as soon as I saw her pick up that gun, I'm like, and she didn't shoot him, I'm like, he's not dead. I knew that. I just didn't know that's when he was going to come in.
But yeah, he jumps through the window. She grabs the gun, dun, 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 and then shoots the dog and kills him. At this time, also,
Vic pulls up and sees the bloodied Pinto and is screaming, Donna, Donna, Donna. She comes out the door with Tad. They have a beautiful reunion.
Yeah.
And then it's cut.
Yeah, it's crazy the fact that in the book.
I thought our TV froze.
Well, it does just abruptly end.
Well, they freeze in that scene and then nothing happens and it takes like a good 30 seconds for the credits to roll. Yeah. And I was like, did the TV freeze?
But going back to the book, that's crazy because this scene is so this scene in the freaking book, she finally kills the dog. Vic shows up. Finally, we've got someone to help save us. I've took care of the dog. Yeah. Now let's get out. Let's get Tad some help. And then he grabs Tad and Vic goes, Donna, how long? And she's like, how long what? And he goes, how long has Tad been dead? And then you find out Tad is he's dead. And you don't even know how long he's been dead.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't get wrong. It don't take much to make me cry. But I cried so hard when I read that.
I make faces, but I also cry very easy. But we cry over two different things.
Yeah, my things are different. Like real things, like I don't like real.
You cry over movies. Yeah. And you cry because you feel a connection with certain things that you watch or read. I cry because life's a bitch sometimes.
Well, like when my grandmother passed away a couple of months ago, but I didn't really cry when she passed away.
Yeah.
But I'll cry over a movie.
Oh, I mean, when my grandparents passed, my grandparents passed 2 years ago, 3 days apart, and they had been together since they were teenagers. I didn't really cry then. But then months later, and grief works like this, months later, I think a big meltdown over it.
Oh yeah, because it was a month, literally a month later. Yeah. I was in the kitchen.
And that's how grief works. And there is no, set in stone way to grieve. But I'll be damned if I just feel sad one day. I'll spend the whole damn day crying. And I love my grandparents, but those rough days get you sometimes.
But yeah, I love this ending so much better, so much more. So much better. I think that's the way to say it. I love this ending so much more because then the book goes on to basically now it's just them together and it's okay, well, what are we going to do with our life?
Because they already have issues.
Yeah, exactly. It was okay, well, we need to fix something. You know what I mean? But all in all, I really like this movie. I think it's
a good movie. I just am indifferent towards it.
I get it because Becca doesn't have a lot of movies that or you're you don't have that kind of movies.
I don't have any movie like that. I have movies that from my childhood that I hold on to very, very, very tightly, and I just resort back to those every single time.
Yeah, but
and that's all Sierra and I did during our girls' night was just watch movies we watched as kids, and that because so my cousin Sierra. Her and I used to sit on the phone, our house phones when we were younger, for hours. And we would watch the same movie and talk to each other about the movie we were watching. But her at her house and me at mine, but talking on the phone.
Oh, no, I used to do that. Yeah. I used to call Jim up. And I think I talked about it on the Rocky 3 episode.
Yeah.
I used to talk to him. We were watching, it was a 4th of July weekend and they were marathon the Rocky. So we watched Rocky together and just watched.
Yeah, over the phone with each other.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Cujo. As far as, a book of Stephen King's, I think it's a very good book. Is it one of his best books? No, but I will say this is definitely one of his best book adaptations, hands down. This and Firestar I think they're literally the two best, and I think the third one will definitely have to be Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
I think that's another good adaptation, but the movie's great. I love this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it's a good one, like I said, but like it, love it, or hate it, we'll talk about it.
It's definitely, if Becca likes it, loves it, or hates it. she'll still talk about it, or I'll ask her to talk about it.
Yeah, Logan, we're only going to do things Logan likes. Welcome to the
No,
Logan
that's
Show.
not true. That's not
You
true.
will not sit here and talk about a movie that you despise because you wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
it depends. Okay. Yeah. But that
okay.
list is very small, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. We're happy that we were able to close out our Halloween marathon with this. And before we go, I made a point. So when you, if you're someone that's met us in person at either a movie event or a con or anything like that, there's always these super cool vendors. And you see the same people again and again. You get to make friends with them. So we have found a girl that screen prints shirts as well as other items called Horror Finds. And she had this super cute embroidered ghost one with little coffees. And Logan has hoodies and crew necks from her.
This is the Haddonfield Neighborhood Watch block captain, and it's got Michael Myers on it in the house.
Yeah, she makes such cute, funky things.
No, her stuff is cool. Her stuff, like, she's got, I got the VHS one, and then it's really cool.
And we get compliments all the time on his hoodies that he got from Horror Finds on IG. But yeah,
we'll put them in the description. If you just open up the description of the video, you'll be able to find. I'll put a link there.
And this isn't even sponsored. I just really like her hoodies, and they're super freaking comfortable. Her crew necks, and they're really
today
comfy.
is Halloween. This one episode came out on Halloween, so it makes sense.
Yes.
To boast something that is Halloween related.
But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us today. If you're in need of any hoodies, stickers, or I think she even does like pins and stuff.
Her pins are really cool.
Definitely check her out. And we hope you guys enjoy this Halloween holiday.
Oh yeah. And remember, if you're a listener on your favorite podcast app, please give us a like. Maybe share our stuff. If there's any way you could leave a review, if you like
Only if it's a good one.
Yeah, if you like it and if you have the time to do so, we greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, don't review us if you like us, love us, or hate us. Only review us if you like us or love us.
And then if you're on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. That would be awesome. It just helps grow the community. And this is a great community. We've met so many great people in this community. Yeah. From all the different podcasts and stuff. And, I'm just, like I said on the last episode, I'm just really happy to be a part of it. And we can have our little nook in it. Make friends and stuff like that. And so, if you like our stuff, please share it, subscribe. That would be greatly awesome.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.